City of Adelaide Council meeting on Tuesday, 23 September 2025. The Acting Lord Mayor is in the chair. This council meeting will be streamed live and recorded for publishing to the internet. Please note that an audio and visual recording is being taken of this meeting. This means that your presence at and any contribution you make to the meeting may be collected, used, disclosed or published publicly by the Council, including transferring outside Australia.
Council acknowledges that we're meeting on the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains and pays respects to elders past and present. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationship with the land. We also acknowledge that they are of continuing importance to the Kaurna people living today. And we extend that respect to other Aboriginal language groups and other First Nations present today. The Council acknowledges the vision of Colonel William Light in determining the site for Adelaide and the design of the city with its 6 squares and surrounding parklands, which is recognised on the National Heritage List as one of the greatest examples of Australia's planning heritage. We pray for wisdom, courage, empathy, understanding and guidance in the decisions that we make, whilst seeking and respecting the opinions of others. May we, in this meeting, speak honestly, listen attentively, think clearly and decide wisely for the good governance of the City of Adelaide and the well-being of those we serve. Now, if I could ask everyone to remain standing in silence in memory of those who gave their lives in defence of their country at sea, on land and in the air. Members, please be seated. Now, the next item is apologies and leave of absence. We have approved leave of absence for the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor, Dr. Jane Lomax-Smith, and for Councillor Kabada, and we have an apology from Councillor Davis. Confirmation of minutes. May I have a mover and a seconder for the minutes of the meeting of Council of the 9th of September 2025? Councillor Stephen-Tritt moved, Councillor Marr seconded. Those in favour? I declare that carried. Next, I invite any member who has a declaration of conflict of interest to make that declaration. No conflicts of interest. Thank you, members. Next item on the agenda is deputations. We have one deputation granted, and that is to Mr. Peter Dalkeith-Scott, who wishes to speak to members about the North Adelaide Golf Course. Mr. Dalkeith-Scott, would you like to come forward? Please take the microphone. You have 5 minutes in which to address the Council.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you, councillors, for your time. I have about 35 years' experience internationally in golf course design and development. And I've got involved in this matter with North Adelaide Golf Course, which really needs a little bit of truth-telling and a bit of detail from my point of view. Firstly, and today I just want to, I've been on TV and I've been on the radio explaining my position, but I have actually designed a championship golf course on North Adelaide Golf Club in order to determine what the actual tree loss would be, the real story. And my design, which was it's very difficult to fit a full golf course on that, but it's about 6,800 yards. And what is lost is around about 50 to 60% of the canopy on the parkland. And that not including the preservation of the par 3 course. So I've also studied where the fences need to be, because these golf balls will travel a long way. Professionals hit the ball very hard, and if they're off distance, it will hit into people's properties and also into cars, because you've got surrounding roads. So let me explain exactly why I'm here. I heard from the new Minister for the Environment, Ms. Hood, who glossed over and said they were going to be planting lots of trees. Okay, let me tell you the value of those 3 trees for one lost. It's about $150. The value of your trees, I've spoken to a tree valuer with more than 30 years' experience, who's a colleague of mine, and he's from Sydney, and he's done work all over Australia. He said a 17-metre tree, of which there are many, and that's medium in the area, with a 17-metre canopy, is worth $60,000 in asset. Now, if the maximum is achieved, there's 5,000 trees that are taken out. That's $300 million of assets that the City of Adelaide loses. If it's 1,000, then that's 60 million. So what I want to draw attention to is not just that they're going to take out trees and replace them with a few saplings. It's that there are genuine heritage assets that are being lost. And that means something, because it'll take another 100 years to get to that level again. So it's not just the environmental issues, it's actually those other issues. So that probably should be looked at a bit more detail. And the ability to calculate that is free online, by the way. So council staff could calculate the actual cost of the loss of the trees. So the second point, and this is my last one, so I won't go on, a lot of my stuff is already online, including the plans, is that to remove the trees, normally on a golf course when you've got a lot of trees, like in a forest, you bulldoze them. You just go get a big D12 and you bulldoze them out of the ground. You can't do that on this site because the golf course is built on Kaurna land, which is their traditional land. So pulling a big tree out will disturb everything under the ground for more than 15 metres. So there's really big issues there of that. So that means they will have to use specialised equipment to remove the trees. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because the government has published a cost of the golf course of $45 million. Okay, so let's take that. To remove one tree by the specialised method, which actually is already in Adelaide, I think you're using it there already, will cost around about $10,000. So the bigger trees will be more expensive, the smaller ones, of course, much less. But the key is that it doesn't disturb the ground underneath the overlay of the golf course. So let's say we're back at 5,000 again, then that's $50 million just in tree removal to not disturb the land. So the numbers, my feeling is the government has not even thought about these things. It has not been put forward and it's not been rationalised, etc. I'm a landscape architect from, I graduated in 1980. I've done golf course architecture all around the world and built them. I'm an architect. I'm a financial planner. I have a development company as well. So I'm here just to present that point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Members, the next item on the agenda is petitions. We have none, and so we move to recommendations from committees, and specifically recommendation 11 for the City Finance and Governance Committee. Councillor Siebentrit is the chair. Would you like to move those separately or en bloc?
Very happy to move them en bloc, Acting Lord Mayor.
Seconder, Councillor Noon. Do you wish to speak to them?
Reserve my right.
Councillor Noon. Does anybody else wish to speak to either of the items on item 11, CFG Committee? Then I'll ask Councillor Siebentrit to sum up.
Summed up.
Those in favour? I declare that carried unanimously. We move now to item 12, which is recommendations of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee. Now, I chaired that committee, so I'll be looking to someone from the floor to move that. Councillor Snape, seconder. Councillor Noon, are you moving that en bloc, Councillor Snape? Yes. That is okay with the seconder. Do you wish to speak to it? Councillor Noon, do you wish to speak? Same. Does anyone wish to speak to item 12, recommendations of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee? Then I'll ask Councillor Snape to sum up. I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? I declare that also carried unanimously. We move now to the advice of the Adelaide Parklands Authority, meeting of 18 September 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Snape, seconded by Councillor Marr. Do you wish to speak? You reserve your right. Councillor Marr as well. Does anyone else wish to speak? Yes, Councillor Siebentrit.
Just have a question, Acting Lord Mayor, and I recognise this may be outside the remit of the authority, but just in relation to the beach volleyball facility, have any potential funding requests been presented to Council in support of this, or is this purely a development consideration at the moment?
I'll ask the CEO to respond.
Through the presiding member, I'm not aware of any requests for funding from Volleyball SA, but I would note that there will be a report coming through to the October cycle of committees in relation to this matter now that we've received the advice of the Caterpillar Authority.
Any further questions or comments? Then I'll ask the mover to sum up. Then I will put it to the vote. Those in favour of item 13? I declare that carried unanimously. We move now to item 14, which is reports for Council, Chief Executive Officer's report, which contains items 14.1 to 14.9. Now, I'm proposing that we'll treat each of these separately, moving first to item 14.1. Does that suit the meeting? Does anyone have any objection to that? No? Okay, then I will move immediately to 14.1. Sorry, Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I'd like to move this one in a slightly amended form.
Yes.
I think I've sent that amendment over to the administration. And there's nothing significant really about that, except it makes it extremely clear about the previous decisions made and puts it in the motion. Otherwise, I don't have anything more to say except that the motion itself is very clearly stated exactly how we'll go about this and the timeframes that we're talking about. And I think that makes it very transparent for everybody.
Now, I'll just seek the advice of the CEO about whether that is an acceptable amendment.
Through the presiding member, what the alternative motion does is splits the term of office for the Deputy Lord Mayor into two distinct periods. Importantly, it's from the 24th of September through to the end of the council term in November. So and there would need to be a decision point by the council, I'd suspect at the December meeting regarding the second term.
Is that the intent of the mover? Yes? Okay. I need a seconder for that.
Acting Lord Mayor, just have a question. Is it appropriate to ask a question at this stage, or do you need a seconder first?
Can I just get a seconder, and then we can move to that? Seconded by Councillor Snape. Councillor Stephen.
Apologies. Point of order, Chair. My reading of the motion is that both positions will be voted on tonight.
Yes, sorry, that's
the intent of the mover?
That's the intent of the mover, yep.
Yes, I think that's understood by the CEO.
It's trying to neatly package it all up into tonight's meeting so we don't have to go through another process.
So might I suggest then a clarification, and I'll ask the CEO, does 3 need to be altered so that it reads, notes that the method of appointing a Deputy Lord Mayor for the terms at 2 will be undertaken at this meeting in accordance with? Would that be a satisfactory amendment?
With the clarification of the intent of 2, through the presiding member, with a clarification of the intent of 2, which is for votes to occur for 2 terms of office for a Deputy Lord Mayor this evening, I think 3 is fine.
Okay, now I'll seek some guidance from the CEO for proceeding further for the Chair. We need then to take this motion in parts, or...
Can I have a question?
Yes, just a moment. I'm asking a procedural question of the CEO.
Whether it's taken in parts is a matter for the mover and seconder.
Okay, one moment, please, Councillor Giles. Councillor Couros, you had a question.
I'm still not clear through you, Chair, if administration can answer it. Where is the enabling factor of voting on this for tonight? I understand the notes the terms of office, it's a note, and then notes the method of appointing, but where is the actual action?
Through the presiding member, once the presiding member has resolved on the matter of calling for nominations, subject to the number of nominations, there'll be either a vote, a ballot, or a declaration of the result.
But we don't have an enabling factor to call on for a vote. It's a noting, Chair.
It's 3.1, 3.2 is all out of the code of practice for meetings. So that is your enabling provision.
If I might assist, are you asking for a point 4, which says council appoints councillor whoever?
No,
no,
it's not required.
No, apparently 3.1 is part of the process.
Okay.
Just to clarify as the mover, that's why it doesn't need it, because we already have a process. This just makes the process, notes that the process exists, and that's the way we normally would go about it.
I would probably be more inclined to say that noting is just for noting. I don't understand how that is an action.
Through the presiding member, the resolution as presented is to note that the council has to resolve to create the position of Deputy Lord Mayor. It secondly notes that there will be 2 separate terms of office for the office of the Deputy Lord Mayor from the 24th of September until the 31st of December, and secondly from 1 January until the conclusion of the council term in November. 3 and all parts of 3 specify the process with which 2 will be given substance.
Is that clear now to everybody? Councillor Siebentrit?
I'm going to work out how to approach this. I'd like to flag a potential amendment here because I feel very uncomfortable about voting on a DLM position, Deputy Lord Mayor position, when the Lord Mayor is not here at the moment. I think we discussed at the last meeting, Councillor is not here.
Just hang on a moment, Councillor. You're actually speaking against the motion as it stands.
I'm prefacing that I will speak against
You'll
it,
have
but
the
I'm looking
opportunity
for a
to do
variation.
that. I'm going to ask the mover and the seconder to speak.
Okay.
And then I'll ask every councillor if they wish to contribute, and then I'll come back to you. A question, Councillor Couros?
Question.
Yes.
Can a variation be added at this point? So a variation.
With the consent of the mover and the seconder.
All right, can another amendment be added at this point?
There is no amendment. This is an alternative motion.
Can you amend the alternative motion?
An amendment could be moved. It would need a seconder and it would need to be voted on.
All right, so on this matter, if someone feels the need to put in an amendment to defer until the Lord Mayor is in the chair, can we add that at this point?
Yeah. Yep.
But it needs a mover and a seconder.
My advice from the CEO is that you can test an amendment, but you would need a mover and a seconder.
Okay, so considering that Councillor Siebentrit flagged it, it is this point that he wants to add an amendment?
That is what I'm flagging. However, I'm not sure procedurally when to indicate
Well,
that.
procedurally, the advice I'm getting is that the mover and the seconder need to speak, and that is their right. And then you, if you may, Councillor Couros, or anyone else in the room, may seek to move an amendment, provided they have a seconder. So I'm just saying the advice I have is that at this point in time, procedurally, I need to ask the mover of the amendment here, the alternative motion to speak, and then the seconder to speak, and then if you wish, you may signal your intent and move an alternative, or at least an amendment, provided you have a seconder. So without further ado, let me go to Councillor Giles and ask her to speak to her alternative motion.
I think I may have already done so, but I'll do it again. All right, I'll speak to it. Look, I think we had a significant debate about this issue last council meeting. I think we all know where we stand in relation to this matter. We need a Deputy Lord Mayor. We know that the current Deputy Lord Mayor doesn't want to continue in the position, and we really have debated this issue in the last meeting. I think this motion and doing it all tonight and sorting it out tonight for the rest of this time is a good way to go in order to be able to settle it and stop any further sort of like ridiculous discussions about a position that is very important but is not our main business here.
Councillor Snape.
Reserve my right, Chair.
Does anyone else wish to speak to the alternative motion? Councillor Siebentrit?
I would like to move an amendment, if I can, Acting Lord Mayor, which would be... Oh.
Yes, please.
And I'd seek guidance from administration as well on the wording of this. And my intent is really just to be able to vote on DLM for the period September through to December, to be able to provide time for two of our colleagues, importantly the Lord Mayor, to return. So we'd be deleting the words "and from" through to 2026, which just leaves us with the terms of office. The DLM will be from 24 September to 31 December. Welcome advice on whether that's...
Now we need a seconder for that proposed amendment. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Abrahimzadeh has seconded that. Do you wish to speak to that, Councillor Siebentrit?
I understand that yourself, Acting Lord Mayor, are not currently in a position where you want to continue. I think you've done a fantastic job in recent months over the time of the Central Ward election, but respect the decision you've made. So I can see Councillor Giles' point. We want to move beyond the debates around this in the chamber and just get on with the business of making good decisions. But I do believe that in terms of looking for 1 January, November next year, that is something that the Lord Mayor ideally would participate in. It's an important relationship between the DLM and the Lord Mayor, and I'd like to see her back in the chair to vote for that.
Councillor Abrahimzadeh, do you wish to speak? Does anybody else wish to speak to the amendment? Then I will revert to Councillor Siebentritt to sum up.
I've summed up, Acting Lord Mayor.
Then I will put... Oh, I beg your pardon. Councillor Abrahimzadeh, did you wish to speak at all? You didn't speak? No, okay. Okay, then I will put the amendment. The amendment is shown at 2, and instead of saying notes that the terms of office for the Deputy Lord Mayor will be from the 24th of September 2025 until 31st of December, and from 1 January until the conclusion of the council term in November 26, it says simply notes that the terms of office for the Deputy Lord Mayor will be from the 24th of September 2025 until the 31st of December 2025. I now put that motion. Those in favour of the amendment? I declare the amendment lost. We now revert to the alternative motion, and I will seek advice. Councillor Giles has spoken to this. Councillor Snape has spoken to this. You reserved your right. Does anyone else wish to speak to the alternative motion? Councillor Kouros.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I would not be supporting this. I think it's disrespectful to actually be making these decisions without the Lord Mayor present. While we're talking about this, it was mentioned that this is a secondary part of our business. It's actually the most important part of our business, electing a Deputy Lord Mayor for the Lord, and I think it's only fair to have the Lord Mayor present when we do that for a full term. Respectfully, I understand, Deputy Lord Mayor, that you don't wish to continue, and I wouldn't mind concluding that this evening from the 24th September to the 31st December 2025. Have no problem for that, but to not have the Lord Mayor here for a major decision for the whole full almost 12 months for 2026, I think that's disrespectful, and I think we should honour that respect to having the Lord Mayor, who was elected by the public, to be present for that election.
Any further speakers? Councillor Marr.
Thank you. The original motion that we were looking at this evening was for September until the conclusion of the term in November 2026, so that would be this entire period that we are looking at now, which has just been split into 2. At some point, we do have to get on with the business. I understand that the original version of this motion, as it originally stood, the Lord Mayor would still not be present for that decision regardless. We did already delay this appointment from the last meeting in order to allow the induction to occur for myself and the other 2 councillors who are new to the role. There's the 4th councillor who is on a long-term approved leave of absence, which further complicates it, but at some point we do have to get on with the job. Council can't stop for that forever. I don't really see a problem with splitting the term in 2, because the original motion would have been to put someone in that chair for the entire period of time. So it doesn't make me feel very comfortable, but I'll be supporting this one.
Councillor Kouros, you've spoken. Do you have a question?
Is the Lord Mayor returning? When is the Lord Mayor returning?
When
When is the Lord Mayor returning?
I thought you
Through the presiding member, the Lord Mayor will be returning over the weekend of 27-28 September and is expected to be back in her office on Monday the 29th.
So, in your view, through you, Chair, that would be plenty of time for the Lord Mayor to be present for a vote for the
I
2026?
think we're debating the matter now rather than asking a question.
So she would be present.
We prefer not to make statements in the guise of questions. Does anyone else wish to speak to this? Councillor Snape, you reserved your right. Do you wish to speak? Councillor Noon, you wish to speak?
Look, I agree with the sentiments in principle, but at the end of the day, we don't know what life throws at us. And at the end of the day, we don't know when, Councillor Cabana will be back or the Lord Mayor will be back and in the chair. At the moment, we actually have what almost is the closest to a full council that we've had for a long time.
Point of order.
What is your point of order, Councillor Couros?
It was stated that we don't know when the Lord Mayor will be back, but we will clarify that she'll be back on the weekend of the 27th to 28th of September, so she'll be back in the chair next week.
We don't know for sure she'll be back in the chair. We don't know if we're going to be in the chair to make decisions down the track. This is a fact. At the end of the day, I don't know if I'm going to be available between October and December to be here. I don't know the unpredictability of our lives. I've actually looked at the attendance of this council over the fin year of 24-25, just out of curiosity. There was 25 ordinary council meetings and only 8 have full council in attendance. And on an average, there was about 1 to 2 people missing every single council meeting. So at the end of the day, we can't hold it up for people who may be here or maybe not here. We need to progress this council. We need to get back to some normality. We have had this disruption over the last 6 months. I've been watching this and viewing this, how bad this is to our ratepayers. Our ratepayers of Adelaide deserve better than what we've been giving. We need to get back to normality. We need to progress these elections tonight to get back to what we were before we were disrupted, and we've only got 1 more year in office. When Councillor Cabana comes back, by the time he actually gets into the seat, it could be, mid-November. We've only probably got 1 or 2 meetings of council before we actually close down and we don't get back until February. There's a lot of businesses that want council representation. We need to actually have a Deputy Lord Mayor. We need to have people in these committees. We need to actually get back to some point of normality because of what's happened. So we need to support this, and we need to support what else is coming in this council meeting tonight, because it's really important to show the community that we are leaders and that we make these tough decisions and that we need to get back to a normality so that we can deliver on our services and our promises to our community.
Just in the nick of time. Councillor Siebentrit.
So a questioning Acting Lord Mayor. So if this doesn't go through, what's the outcome question for the administration?
I'll ask the CEO.
If the motion as presented, as amended, doesn't go through, we would need to deal with the matter of a vacant Deputy Lord Mayoral position, because we need to have a Deputy Lord Mayor in place.
Okay, I will now, in the event that no one else wishes to speak, I will now move to the mover to ask her to sum up.
I don't think I need to say any more. I've summed up.
It's been suggested to me that I should ask of the mover whether it is your intention that it is moved in part or en bloc.
I can't see how you could move this one in part because one thing leads to another, so I'd say it needs to be moved on in block.
Then I will now put to the meeting for your approval or disapproval the motion in its entirety. Those in favour? I declare that carried. A division has been called.
Members' division has been called in relation to the appointment of the Deputy Lord Mayor. Please stand until your name has been called. Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr and Councillor Noon. Thank you.
Then, according to 3.1, we now move to nominations for the positions. They will be conducted separately. We will first call for nominations for the position of Deputy Lord Mayor for the period from 24 December 2025 until 31 December 2025. May I have nominations from the floor?
I'll nominate Councillor Snape.
Thank you, Councillor Couros. That was audible. Councillor Snape, you wished to nominate someone? No, we wish to accept the nomination. Do you wish to accept the nomination? Okay. Did you wish to nominate someone? No. Okay. Councillor Siebentreut.
Can I just clarify, Acting Lord Mayor, just so I can keep up with where we're up to? Is this the nominations in relation to the period for 24 September now through to 31 December?
That's correct.
Excellent. Great.
The alternative motion in front of you is the motion that's been adopted, and we are conducting a nominations process at this time, seeking those who are interested in nominating for the period 24 September, 31 December 2025. I have but one nomination, that is for Councillor Snape. Yes, Councillor Abrahimzadeh.
I nominate Councillor Couros.
Councillor Couros, do you accept the nomination?
Why not?
I'm guessing
Yes.
that's a yes. Thank you.
Why not? Let's just see how this is going to go. I can predict.
Any further nominations? There being two names put before the council, we'll now conduct a secret ballot. Ballot papers will be circulated to each of you and collected, and the result will be declared by the returning officer, who's the Chief Executive.
So, members, there are two nominations for the position of Deputy Lord Mayor, September to December 2025. Your ballot papers should be returned with one vote only. Through the presiding member, on a majority of votes for the position of Deputy Lord Mayor for the period from 24 September until the 31st of December 2025, I declare Councillor Snape elected.
What was the vote count, please? Split.
On a majority of votes, you want after the numbers? Okay. 6 votes for Councillor Snape, 3 votes for Councillor Couros.
Congratulations, Councillor Snape, on your appointment. We now move to the second term, the second part of the period nominated in the motion, and that is Deputy Lord Mayor for the period 1st of January until November 2026. And I call for nominations for the position from the floor. You want to nominate someone, Councillor?
I would like to nominate Councillor Noon.
Councillor Noon.
Does she accept?
Do you, please ignore that. Do you accept Councillor Noon? She does. I understand. I'm sure it will cease without anything further being required. Councillor Abrahimzadeh.
Can I nominate Councillor Siebentritt?
Councillor Siebentritt. Councillor Siebentritt, do you accept?
Yes, I do, Acting Lord Mayor.
You do. Are there any further nominations? Therefore, I will now ask the Chief Executive to conduct the nomination process.
Members, you'll be distributed with a ballot paper. There are 2 nominees, Councillor Noon and Councillor Siebentritt. Please return your ballots indicating your vote for one of the 2 nominees.
Excuse me, Acting Lord Mayor. It wasn't clear on whether Councillor Noon and myself would have an opportunity to speak to our nomination. We're waiting. I think we might have both been waiting for that opportunity.
No, there is no opportunity once the nomination process has begun. Councillor Siebentritt, I'm sorry.
Through the presiding member, based on the ballot for the position of Deputy Lord Mayor for the period 1 January 2026 to the end of the council term, I declare Councillor Noon appointed.
Can we have the vote count, please?
Through the presiding member, the vote count, the ballots were 6 votes in favour of Councillor Noon, 3 in favour of Councillor Siebentritt.
Congratulations, Councillor Noon, on your nomination. We now move to item 14.2, appointment of committee chairs and deputy chairs. The process will be that I will seek a vote on 14.2 in its entirety, or in parts if it's the choice of the meeting, and then we will move to a nomination process for each of the positions, which is Chair of the City Planning, Development and Business Affairs Committee, Chair of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee, Deputy Chair of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee, and Deputy Chair of the City Finance and Governance Committee. I repeat again, the procedural, that is 14.2, needs to be moved and endorsed by the meeting, and then we will move to a separate nomination process. Is everyone clear about that? Then I will seek a mover for the recommendation as printed, 14.2, Councillor Noon. A seconder, Councillor Snape. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Noon? Do you wish to speak, Councillor Snape? Does anybody else wish to speak to the procedural? Then I will ask the mover to sum up. Councillor Noon? Summed up. Then I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour of 14.2, the procedural, please raise your hands. Councillor Kouros, I can't see you. I'm sorry? Oh, you're voting against it. Okay, I understand. Those against? Councillor Kouros.
Members' division has been called in relation to 14.2, appointment of committee chairs and deputy chairs. Please stand until your name has been called. Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr, Councillor Siebentritt, Councillor Noon and Councillor Abrahimzadeh. Thank you.
Now, if I hadn't done so, that motion is carried. And now we move to the process of nominations, and I will call for nominations for the first of the committee positions, that is Chair of the City Planning, Development and Business Affairs Committee. Nominations, please.
Councillor Noon. Councillor Noon.
You nominate Councillor Noon. Councillor Noon, do you accept that?
I do.
Are there any further nominations? Then I hand over to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, noting that there's been a single nomination, there is no ballot required, and I declare Councillor Noon appointed to the position of Chair of the City Planning, Development and Business Affairs Committee.
We now move to the second committee position, that is Chair of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee. Nominations for that position, please. Councillor Noon.
I would like to nominate Councillor Mayer.
Councillor Marr, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Marr, thank you. Any further nominations for that position? I'll ask the CEO to take up the matter.
Through the presiding member, there being only one nomination for the position of Chair of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee, I declare Councillor Marr appointed to the position of Committee Chair.
I now call for nominations for the position of Deputy Chair of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee. Councillor Giles.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Freeman.
Councillor Freeman, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I accept. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for the Deputy Chair position for the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee? I now refer the matter to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for the Deputy Chair of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee, I declare Councillor Freeman appointed as Deputy Chair.
And finally, the position of Deputy Chair of the City Finance and Governance Committee. I call for nominations. Councillor Freeman.
I would like to nominate Councillor Ma.
Councillor Ma, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, thank you.
Are there any further nominations for the position of Deputy Chair of the City Finance and Governance Committee? I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for the position of Deputy Chair of the City Finance and Governance Committee, I declare Councillor Ma appointed as Deputy Chair of that committee.
Thank you, members. We now move to the next item, 14.3. Again, an appointment of a council member to the Reconciliation Committee. The process will be the same. There is a procedural before you at 14.3. I will seek a mover for the procedural, and then we will move to the matter of nominations. The mover is Councillor Snape, seconded by Councillor Giles. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Snape? Councillor Giles? Does anybody else wish to speak? Would you like to sum up? You summed up? Then I will put that to the vote. Those in favour of 14.3, the appointment of a member to the Reconciliation Committee, that is carried unanimously. I will now ask for nominations. I have two hands in the air. Councillor Giles first.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Freeman.
Councillor Freeman, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept. Thank you.
Councillor Snape, do you wish to nominate someone? I saw your hand.
I was also going to nominate Councillor Freeman.
Ah, okay. Does anybody else wish to nominate another person to sit on the Reconciliation Committee? No? I'll refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for the position of council member to the Reconciliation Committee, I declare Councillor Freeman elected to that vacant position.
Members, we now move to item 14.4. It's another appointment, this time a councillor member to the CEO Performance Review. And again, it is a procedural motion, and then I will seek nominations. Moving the procedural, Councillor Snape, seconding, Councillor Noon. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Noon? You're speaking or reserving or declining? Reserving your right. Does anybody else wish to speak to this? No? Then I will put the matter to a vote. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Nominations, please, for the position of representative on the CEO Performance Review. Councillor Snape?
I nominate Councillor Noon.
Councillor Noon, do you accept?
I accept.
Are there any other nominations? There being no further nominations, I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for the position of council member to the CEO Performance Review panel, I declare Councillor Noon appointed to that role.
We now move to 14.5, the appointment of a deputy council member to the council assessment panel. Note, this is a deputy position. May I have nominations? Oh, sorry, the moving of the procedural. Councillor Snape, seconded by Councillor Ma. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Snape? Councillor Ma? Does anyone wish to speak to this? Then I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? I declare that carried unanimously. We now move to nominations for that position. Councillor Snape, again.
I nominate Councillor Freeman.
Councillor Freeman?
Freeman.
Councillor Freeman, do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
Are there any further nominations? I refer that to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for the position of Deputy Council Member to the Council Assessment Panel, I declare Councillor Freeman appointed to that role.
We now move to 14.6. Again, it's the identical process, the procedural, and then I'll call for nominations. It's for an appointment of a proxy council member to the Audit and Risk Committee. That is a reserve. Councillor Giles, you wish to move the motion as printed. Seconded Councillor Snape. Do either of you wish to speak? Does anybody wish to speak? Councillor Snape, have you summed up? Oh, Councillor Giles, I beg your pardon. Summed up. Then I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. I now ask for nominations for the position. Councillor Giles.
I'd like to nominate the Deputy Lord Mayor.
That's Councillor Snape?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I'd like to nominate Councillor Martin.
Well, Deputy Lord Mayor till midnight. Yep. So, yes, I accept that nomination. I accept that nomination. Are there any further nominations? Then I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, there being a single nomination for the position of proxy council member to the Audit and Risk Committee, I declare Councillor Martin appointed to that role.
Thank you. We now move to 14.7. Council representatives on the CAP selection panel. I note and I seek confirmation that there are 2 positions.
That's correct. Yeah.
And therefore I will go through the same process, that is seek a mover and a seconder for the procedural and then ask for nominations. Somebody to move the procedural, please. Not Councillor Snape. Councillor Noon, seconded by Councillor Marr. Do either of you wish to speak? Does anybody else wish to speak? Yes, Councillor Abrahimzadeh.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I've just got a few questions to start with, if that's okay. The report talks about a review taking place. Through you, is any member of administration able to talk about that review, just because the report didn't have a lot of detail around the review, why it was needed and how it was conducted?
Through the presiding member, the review was predicated on a position of consistency with the selection panels for both council's subsidiaries, the ACMA Authority and the AIDA agency, and the terms of reference review strives to achieve consistency between the selection panel process for those subsidiaries as well as the council assessment panel.
Thank you, CEO. Again, through you, Acting Lord Mayor, if we are talking about consistency, the 2 subsidiaries, the Adelaide Central Market Authority and AIDA, are they established under the Local Government Act? Correct me if I'm wrong, Section 42 of the Act?
Precisely.
And the Council Assessment Panel, is that established under the Local Government Act? Through you, Acting Lord Mayor.
Through the presiding member, I think the technical answer would be best provided by Mr. Zalewski. Could you come to the podium, Mr. Zalewski? For the avoidance of any doubt.
didn't hear that on my way up through you, Chair. So it's under the PDI Act that the CAP panel is selected rather than the LG Act.
Thank you, Mr. Zalewski. Through you, Acting Lord Mayor, so if we are talking about consistency, if these two panel subsidiaries are established under different legislation, I think there is, it's probably inaccurate for the report to say that the amendment achieves consistency because we're not talking about, we're not comparing apples with apples here, Acting Lord Mayor. I don't have any other questions, but I might just speak to this briefly if I can, Acting Lord Mayor. I won't be supporting this, as I just highlighted. This doesn't create consistency. We would just advise that the two subsidiaries that are highlighted in the report, being ACMA and AIDA, are established under Section 42 of the Local Government Act, whereas the Council Assessment Panel is established under the PDI Act. Even when you look at the Code of Conduct for the Council Assessment Panel members, the Code of Conduct for those members differ to the Code of Conduct for others, for us here in this chamber, Acting Lord Mayor. So when you look at the Council Assessment Panel, it is quite unique in its function. And for us to look at appointing council members on a selection panel, in my opinion, I think is a bit of an overreach, because we know that the Council Assessment Panel has a function. It has a different code of conduct. It's established under the PDI Act. So for us to try and appoint more council members on that selection panel, in my opinion, is a bit of an overreach. And I would have thought that having a Lord Mayor on the selection panel, or, as the report suggests, a proxy or a nominee, if the Lord Mayor isn't able to attend, whether if it's a Deputy Lord Mayor or another council member, would have been sufficient. I won't be supportive of this, but I'll let the chamber do what it does. But I would just highlight to the members that if you do want to be consistent, that if you want to compare apples with apples, this is not the way to go.
Councillor Giles first, and then Councillor Marr. Sure. Okay. If you're reserving,
I don't.
the right.
Yeah. I had a question, but then I don't think I do. Well, yeah. Sorry, I withdraw my.
Okay, Councillor Marr.
Might I just ask a question? I'm reading the executive summary here. Proposed that the independent member selection panel is amended to be the appointment of 2 council members in place of only the Lord Mayor. Am I to interpret that as the Lord Mayor is unable to fill the role?
CEO.
Through the presiding member, that's a reference to the last selection panel process that operated, which included the Lord Mayor. This is a proposal to vary and formalise the members of the selection panel.
Thank you.
And just for the sake of clarity, CEO, who would the members of the selection panel be? The Lord Mayor?
Through the presiding member, the proposed?
Yes.
The proposed would be 2 council members appointed by the council, myself as CEO or my delegate, the council's senior manager in charge of human resources, and the council's assessment manager.
Thank you. You wish to speak or ask a question, Councillor?
I wish to speak. This is really important, that we make sure that council has a say about development in this city. That's why I totally support this model of who should be on this assessment panel. Every single time we hear complaints from the community about developments in the city, it's just really quite frustrating that we have to tell our constituents that, and the ratepayers of this city, that really we've got no power over any development more than $10 million because the Planning Act has taken that power away from us. And so all sorts of things have been approved under the Development Act. This is nothing to do with consistency. ACMA Aid perform a role which is also accountable to council, and the selection panels for both of those are people who are councillors. For example, AIDA, I'm on the selection panel for AIDA with the majority of council members. It's the way that we do stuff to make these other bodies accountable to the priorities that we hold as a council. That group of people that the CEO outlined sound to me like perfectly qualified people. They're people that understand the development, but also it's really important to have two council members on this, because if the two council members are on the ground hearing the issues that people are concerned about in relation to development, and if the development is only development under $10 million under the current Act, they still want to have a say, and they want to know that their council's got their hands over it. We don't want this area dominated by people who are unconnected to our community and who may or may not be more interested in their relationship with the development industry than with the people of the City of Adelaide. So I don't also think it's about consistency, because it's not a subsidiary of the council. It's a body formed under the Act, and what this does is allow us to have a say about who gets to have a say about what gets developed in the city.
Councillor Kouros raised your hand, that's correct?
Yes, I have an amendment. I would like to resolve to appoint the Lord Mayor and one council member to the council assessment. Is that right?
Do you have a seconder, Councillor Kouros?
Anyone know that she doesn't want to do it? That's what I keep getting told. The Lord Mayor is being elected by the people to do a job. I don't think that she picks...
No. Do you have a seconder?
Well,
you need a seconder to speak.
well, Lord Mayor or...
No, just a moment.
Can I just amend what I want?
Oh, that's not the amendment,
No,
sorry.
I
I
would
beg
say
your pardon.
resolves to appoint the Lord Mayor or delegate, whoever she chooses. Isn't that how it works? So the Lord Mayor can delegate somebody?
Yes.
Of course, yeah. And one council member.
So, Councillor, it's been pointed out to me, a delegate, the Lord Mayor's delegate, doesn't necessarily mean another councillor. It could be a member of staff, or...
Well,
do you specifically want it to be a councillor, or you're not concerned?
I think, well, the Lord Mayor is the Lord Mayor, being elected by the people to represent the city. So I think she's, or he, will be smart enough to, whoever is in the chair as Lord Mayor, to delegate someone appropriate for the job if they don't want to do it.
Okay, so you're happy for the Lord Mayor to delegate to whomever?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
For the purpose of debate, I'm happy to second it.
For the purposes of debate, Councillor
Does that
Stephen...
mean that number one has to be amended as well?
Through the presiding member, technically the Lord Mayor is a council member.
Okay.
So, Councillor, do you wish to speak to your amendment?
I rise to speak in regards to the position of having someone on the panel, and I think the Lord Mayor needs to have the ability to be part of the panel, and if he or she, because I know this will continue to the next council election, we don't know who that will be, chooses to not be a part of the panel, they can delegate the person they want to. Councillor Abrimsdale made some very important points. And if this is a process because you want more control, I just want my members to understand that if you've ever gone through planning, there's rules and regulations that you've got to abide by. You cannot reject anything if it's within the scope of what the rules and the regulations are in planning. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean that you think that you have the power as a councillor to change anything. And if that's what your aim is in this change of way that you do the panel, you need to rethink and understand how actually planning works. But as a governance and as a better way forward, the Lord Mayor was elected by the people. We have to respect that, and I note that we've been very disrespectful in tonight's meeting in regards to the Lord Mayor's position, but I believe that she should have the ability to be able to be part of this panel, and if not, delegate it if need be. I think we really need to be mindful that the Lord Mayor, who represents the city and represents us as a council, would do the right thing.
Point of order, Chair. The councillor keeps referring to the rest of the council as if we don't represent the city, and it's confusing me somewhat. So perhaps she should withdraw that comment.
Hang on, Councillor Couros, one moment. I'm trying to understand the point of order. Councillor Snape, what is your point of order?
I think a correction is in order, because the councillor keeps referring to the rest of us as if we're not elected representatives, and I think it's a miscommunication on her part, and I would just ask her to withdraw it.
I would like...
one moment, Councillor Couros. I understand your objection, but it's not sustained. Councillor Couros, continue.
That's not what I was saying, and I don't like my words to be twisted. I'm specifically talking about the Lord Mayor to be included as a panel, as she was elected by the people to represent our city, and I think it will be respectful for us to include the person who's elected as Lord Mayor on the panel of selecting the people to be in part of the council assessment panel. It is a very important role, which is abided by rules and regulations, which is part of the planning, and I think we need to make sure that we include the person that represents the city as the Lord Mayor.
Councillor Marr.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions first. What is the legal basis for effectively replacing the Lord Mayor with two councillors, firstly, given that that comes from the PDI Act?
Through the presiding member, the PDI Act does not prescribe the membership of a selection panel for membership of CAP. So they are two entirely different creatures. You've got the council assessment panel, which has a majority of independents, a single council member, and by virtue of resolution tonight, a proxy. This is an entirely different matter. This is about the selection panel that will appoint the independents.
So my understanding is correct then, that the Lord Mayor is not specifically elected to this role. That has just been the way of things in the past.
I refer to my previous answer in that the Lord Mayor did participate in the selection panel process for the last round of appointments of independents in 2023.
Okay, thank you.
Do you wish to speak, Councillor Marr, or are you simply...
Yes, I did wish to speak to that. A further, maybe a clarification perhaps from the other member, but the point 2 resolves to appoint the Lord Mayor or delegate and one council member. And then point 3 notes the appointment of appointing council members, but we've actually decided that one of those council members is the Lord Mayor. So I'm not sure that the exact wording of this is correct to have the effect that the desired effect.
Through the...
That was a question, yeah. Is that directed to the chair? Yes.
Through the presiding member, procedurally, despite the variation to 2, the method of appointment as prescribed within the Code of Practice does stand. The difference is in relation to seeking nominations, where you would only seek one nomination rather than 2.
Thank you, that was all I had.
Councillor Snape.
I'm actually half supportive of this, but I would like to make a word or delegate and I'm happy to take some wordsmithing from the administration, an elected member, so in brackets, an elected member. So I'm happy basically for the Lord Mayor and a councillor to be up the two panel members, but if the Lord Mayor does not want to attend or cannot attend, that she delegates her choice another elected member. I think that's the fair compromise.
Appoints the Lord Mayor or her delegated, with a D, her delegated council member.
Members, hang on.
Yeah.
Councillor Kouros.
Through the presiding member, can I make the point that these appointments are until the end of the council term in November? The Lord Mayor will be the Lord Mayor until November 26.
Councillor Kouros, do you accept the variation? Does your seconder accept the variation? Councillor Siebentrit?
Yes.
Then we will proceed further. Now, we were with Councillor Snape. You didn't wish to speak further? Does anybody else wish to speak before I... Councillor Abrahimzadeh has a question.
Through you, Acting Lord Mayor, when was the last time that this chamber made a planning decision?
Through the presiding member, it would have been under the previous legislative regime that still allowed the council to call in matters from the panel.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Probably before the time of most in this chamber.
So Acting Lord Mayor, based on that, would you say that... actually, no, you know what? Forget.
Question.
Councillor Giles.
Do the qualifications of being able to understand the Planning Act require you to make planning decisions?
Through the presiding member, I think we're a little bit cross purposes here. Quite clearly, members of the council assessment panel, with the exception of the council member, are required to be accredited planning professionals. So that clearly infers more than a good working knowledge of the Development Act. What we're talking about here is the membership of a selection panel to appoint those independent members. That requires no particular skill other than the ability to assess honesty and good character.
Councillor Marr.
Might I just ask another, just to clarify exactly the previous question and answer for Councillor Abrahimzadeh. Do we not make council decision? Does not the council assessment panel make decisions as a matter of course? Whether they're making a decision or not is defined by whether the particular development meets the criteria. But it still meets and it still passes those for the developments under 10 million.
Through the presiding member, council has a role in the setting of planning policy through amendments to the planning code. So it has a voice and ability to influence planning policy. The application of planning policy through the development assessment process is quite separate, and in the current legislative environment, any development assessment not assessed under delegation up to 10 million will be presented to the council assessment panel. So there's a clear distinction about planning policy and planning assessment processes.
So we would have made some decisions more recently than the previous answer suggests.
Through the presiding member, I clearly interpreted the question in relation to a matter of planning development assessment, not planning policy.
Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Just before this goes to a vote, I did want to ask a clarifying question. Acknowledging, as Councillor Abrahimzadeh has raised, the PDI Act is statewide across all local government, and I just wanted to understand whether this selection panel is similarly consistent with those other local governments and the way that they appoint members to those panels. I appreciate that what's been presented tonight is striving to seek consistency with other committees and panels that we have in place, but I just wanted to clarify whether this would be unique to the City of Adelaide.
Through the presiding member, the membership of the CAP selection panel would not be unique, and certainly in preparing this report, we've done some benchmarking against the selection panels for CAPs within other local, South Australian local government jurisdictions.
Members, look, it would be good to bring this to a close. For the purposes of clarification, the Lord Mayor is aware of this change. She was briefed on it. If she objects, then she can simply delegate that role to a council member. If she's supportive of the amendment, then she will act in that role. It nevertheless achieves the purpose of 2 elected members, which I think seems to be the principle that everyone agrees upon. It is simply who they are. May I ask the mover of the amendment to sum up? Summed up, I will now put that to the vote. I am putting to you the amendment which resolves to appoint not 2 councillors, but the Lord Mayor or her delegated council member and 1 council member to the assessment panel for the purposes of panel member interviews. Those in favour? I declare that carried unanimously. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see Councillor Abrahimzadeh. Then may I have that again, please? Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. A division has been called.
Members, a division has been called in relation to item 14.7. Council representatives on CAP selection panel, please stand until your name has been called. Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Couros, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr, Councillor Siebentry and Councillor Noon. Thank you.
Yeah, I need to put the motion as amended. So the motion as amended, I need a vote. Those in favour? Those in favour of the motion as amended? Those against? I declare that carried. We now move to nominations of a single councillor, not 2 councillors. I have Councillor Noon's hand in the air first, then Councillor Giles and Councillor Freeman. Councillor Noon.
Councillor Freeman?
Councillor Freeman, do you accept?
I accept.
Okay. Councillor Giles. Okay. Councillor Freeman?
I was going to nominate Councillor Marr.
Councillor Marr.
I won't accept for the purposes of this. Thank you.
Then the matter is referred to the CEO.
No further nominations.
No further nominations.
Through the presiding member, noting the single nomination for a council representative on the CAP selection panel, I declare Councillor Freeman appointed to that.
Members, we now move to 14.8, which is external appointments. The procedure will be the same. That is to say, there will be a procedural motion which recommends the process by which nominations proceed, and then there will be nominations called for each of the positions. May I have a mover for the procedural? Councillor Marr, seconded by Councillor Snape. Do you wish to speak to this? Councillor Snape? Does anybody wish to speak to this or ask any questions? Then, Councillor Marr, do you wish to sum up? Summed up. I now put that to the vote. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. I now ask for nominations for the first of the external appointments, Adelaide Airport Consultative Committee. I'll do member and proxy member separately. Member first, Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Freeman.
Councillor Freeman, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I accept. Thank you.
Are there any further nominations? I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for a member of the Adelaide Airport Consultative Committee, I declare Councillor Freeman appointed.
We move to the Adelaide Airports Consultative Committee proxy member, Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Noon.
Councillor Noon, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I will.
Sort of.
I will.
You do,
Because
okay.
Councillor Freeman will go to all of them, won't you?
Do we have any further nominations for the proxy position for the Airports Consultative Committee? Then I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, noting the single nomination for the position of proxy member of the Adelaide Airport Consultative Committee, I declare Councillor Noon appointed to that role.
1.2 is the Adelaide Botanic High School Council. Can I call for nominations, please? Councillor Freeman.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Noon.
Councillor Noon, do you accept that nomination?
Look, I'm going to say no to that.
You decline the nomination?
Yeah, because I want a couple of the others. So, yes, I decline. Sorry. Thank you anyway.
Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Freeman.
Councillor Freeman, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept.
Are there further nominations? I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, there being a single nomination for the position of council representative on the Adelaide Botanic High School Council, I declare Councillor Freeman appointed to that role.
1.3 Adelaide High School Governing Council. Nominations, please.
Might I ask a question?
Yes.
This sat vacant previously. Would this potentially sit vacant again, and what would occur?
I'll refer that to the CEO, but in the past, if council has not made an appointment, it has asked the administration to make arrangements to ensure that the council is represented, that is by a staff member where possible. Any further comment? No? Do I have any nominations? Councillor Snape.
Councillor Freeman?
Councillor Freeman, do you accept that nomination?
Sorry, can I just clarify? There was a comment that, is there a potential conflict?
No, they're separate entities, not competitive so far as I'm aware.
Okay, in which case, for the last time, I'm happy to accept.
Are there any other nominations? CEO.
Through the presiding member, noting the single nomination for a council representative on the Adelaide High School Governing Council, I declare Councillor Freeman appointed to that role.
1.4, the Australia Day Council of South Australia. May I have nominations? Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Abrahimzadeh.
Councillor Abrahimzadeh, do you accept that nomination? Councillor Abrahimzadeh has declined. Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Couros.
Councillor Kouros, do you accept that nomination?
Considering that I haven't been asked on what I would like to be committed on, and there was no collaboration, I think I will decline.
I'm not sure I understand.
Asked by any of the councillors what appointment I would like and what I would prefer. Obviously, there seems to be a bit of a skit happening here tonight.
Councillor
Kouros, I will decline.
Councillor Kouros, you
and
decline.
not be part
Thank
of the
you.
circus. Thank you.
Do we have any nominations for the Australia Day Council at all?
Can I propose, as a procedural thing, through you, Chair, that any positions that don't fall vacant tonight, rather than going immediately to staff, that perhaps we wait until Councillor Kabada is sworn in, and then Councillor Kouros, how rude.
Councillor Kouros, please.
Just as a proposal, obviously with staff as an interim for the next 6 weeks until he returns, and then give him the option of that possibility.
No, Councillor Kouros, let me just ask the CEO if there is a mechanism by which the councillor's request can be met.
Through the presiding member, what I'm hearing, and if I have the intent, is if at the end of the consideration of these 7 positions there are any vacant, whether there's potential coverage through the administration based on deferring any vacancies to the October council meeting.
I think it'll be November, first meeting in November, for clarity.
Councillor Kabada's back in the country mid-October and will be here for the 28th of October.
I disagree with that. That needs a motion, doesn't it?
Through the presiding member,
Well,
you'll need a motion at the end of this
Yes.
to deal with the vacancies, and
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to assist the chamber with the wording.
Thank you. We can speak to that, right? Thank you.
Why don't you finish the nominations?
Let's move then to the next, which is 1.5, Business Events Adelaide Board. Member and proxy member, I'll be treating those separately. Nominations for member of the Business Events Adelaide Board. Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Noon.
I accept.
Are there further nominations? Councillor Kouros.
To nominate myself.
Councillor Kouros, you can nominate yourself.
Thank you.
And I'm assuming as you nominated yourself, you accept the nomination.
Oh, yes, I do, because no one else is going to nominate me, and I know this is a skit that's happening tonight, so this is actually something I would like
Point of order, Chair. These comments are outrageous that keep being made by Councillor Kouros around the behaviour of the chamber.
Which part of...
Councillor, please, just a moment. I accept your point of order, Councillor Snape. Councillor Kouros, please, I understand you've accepted the nomination. We will now, in the absence of any further nominations, move to a vote. As we have 2 nominations, it will require you to fill out a ballot paper, which will be collected and collated.
Point of order, Chair. When a councillor details or spurts out a point of order, he needs to detail which part of the Act that I have breached, so I can understand what the point of order is about.
The point of order that he was seeking to make is that you were making comments about the behaviour of others. Can we just proceed with the vote, please?
Through the presiding member, based on a majority of votes for the position of Council Member of the Business Events Adelaide Board, I declare Councillor Noon appointed to the role.
Can I have the vote count, please?
Through the presiding member, the votes were 6 ballots in favour of Councillor Noon, 3 votes in favour of Councillor Couros.
We now move to the proxy member vote. I seek nominations. Councillor Snape.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Couros.
Councillor Couros, do you accept the nomination?
This is crazy. Absolutely not.
Councillor Couros has declined the nomination. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Noon.
Can I nominate Councillor Siebentritt?
Councillor Siebentritt, do you accept the nomination?
Happy to be proxy. I expect Councillor Noon will be most of them, so happy to be proxy.
That's fine, thank you. So, Councillor Siebentritt, any further nominations? I refer it to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, there being a single nomination for the proxy member position on the Business Events Adelaide Board, I declare Councillor Siebenstritt appointed.
We now move to 1.6, the Royal South Australia Regiment Council, Inc., and I call for nominations. Councillor Snape.
I was actually going to nominate Councillor Davis for this role. However, he isn't in attendance, so therefore I won't be nominating anyone. If you get.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to nominate anyone? Then we'll move on then to 1.7, Capital City Committee Deputy Member. That is a deputy, not a member. I seek nominations for that position. Councillor Snape.
I nominate Councillor Noon.
I accept.
Councillor Noon accepts. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Freeman.
I nominate Councillor Ma.
Councillor Ma, do you accept that nomination?
I do, thanks.
Councillor Noon.
I'm happy to withdraw.
Councillor Noon, you're
look,
withdrawing.
I'm sick of these little sly comments.
Hang on, Councillor Noon. You withdraw your nomination. Councillor Couros, will you please, this is the second time I've mentioned you by name, will you please cease these interjections?
Chair, I will try.
I'd like you to do better. In the event of 2 nominations, you've withdrawn, sorry. In the event of 1 nomination, I refer the matter to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, noting the single nomination for a deputy member position on the Capital City Committee, I declare Councillor Ma appointed to that role.
Now, CEO, there are 2 positions which have not been filled. Before we move on, you offered to assist with some wording that would allow these to be considered at another time. Could I ask for your assistance in that regard?
Certainly. So there'd be a new 3, I think it'd be. That council is already there. Noting, very simply, defers the appointment of council members to representative roles on the Australian Aid Council of South Australia and the Royal South Australian Regiment Council, Inc.
Apologies, CEO, your microphone's not on.
Don't normally need it to be heard. Sorry. Councillor? Just go down, please. Down to the 3. Can't bear 3? Separate resolution, okay. All right, that cancelled, okay. To the council meeting of 28 October 2025, and ask administration to provide coverage where possible for meetings held before the 28th of October 2025. Does that meet the intent of the chamber?
No, Councillor Noon, I think you were going to move that. Does that meet your intent?
I actually want to put an amendment because I actually want to put myself forward for the Australia Day Council. I think it's actually a really, really important council, and I was just worried about my timelines and the fact that I'm not going to. I pulled out of the capital city. I actually really believe in the Australia Day Council, and I would like to actually put myself forward for that. And so, therefore, the amendment would be to omit this, to put me forward for the Australia Day Council and to omit that from the motion.
Councillor, the advice I'm receiving...
If that's possible.
The advice I'm receiving from the administration is that it's not possible at this meeting to go back, and that you would need to put your name forward when the matter comes to us at the end of October.
Through the presiding member, if I might assist, rather than complicating this, there were no nominations originally for the Australia Day Council of South Australia. The chamber moved on. If the chamber has an appetite to revisit that nomination and appointment process, it's within the remit of council.
I'd like...
So the advice I'm receiving from the CEO is it is in our remit to revisit that. And under those circumstances, CEO, are you suggesting I can then call for nominations again for 1.4 while separately and later moving the deferral of the motion in relation to 1.6? Correct. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Councillor Kouros.
As a governance, I don't understand how we can go backwards if we already move forwards. It just seems to me that this is a process I've never seen before, and if the council has resolved to not appoint anyone, how can you go back to a decision without having a motion to say that you're going to consider it?
That was my concern, Councillor. The administration has answered it, and I'll ask them to explain it.
Through the presiding member, the matter of council making an appointment to the Australia Day Council lapsed for want of a nominee. There was no definitive decision of council, and prior to this wrap-up, there is no decision of council, so it's open to the council to revisit the matter of nominations and then move to an appropriate process.
Still doesn't answer my question, Chair. That was just a roundabout way. I've never seen a situation where you actually have
Councillor, I understand. I understand. I understand your point. You're seeking to make a statement. The administration has given you an answer. As the Lord Mayor frequently says, it may not be the answer that you want to hear, but you have had an answer.
Well, I don't want to be doing something that is not within the requirements of, and we're doing something that is not within the governance.
Well,
and we're setting a precedent.
Councillor, I have the CEO sitting next to me who's consulting governance and who's given advice. I will be guided by that advice. I understand your concerns. However, I have the advice. I'm going to proceed, and I'm going to ask for nominations for 1.4 Australia Day Council. Councillor Ma.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Noon.
Councillor Noon, I'm assuming you accept.
I do.
Councillor Noon accepts. Is there anybody else who would now like to nominate for this position? Nobody else? Not even self-nominate? No? Okay, well, I refer the matter to the CEO.
Through the presiding member, being a single nomination for the council representative on the Australia Day Council, I declare Councillor Noon appointed to that role.
I now move to the wording and motion proposed by the administration in relation to the deferral of 1.6 as appears on the screens in front of you. I will read it if you wish me to read it to you, but it simply defers the appointment of the council member representative to the Royal South Australia Regiment Council to the meeting of the 28th of October. Do I have a mover? Councillor Giles. Seconder, Councillor Snape. Councillor Giles, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, I just, if Councillor Davis was here, I'm assuming he'd be very interested in this, and this will, if he is, this will give him an opportunity to nominate.
Councillor Snape, do you wish to speak? Councillor Couros, your hand was in the air.
Yes, I'd like to speak to this. I think it's very disappointing that we were looking at deferring the original motion for the Australia Day Council for the fact to have the missing council member, Councillor Kabara, and yet all the other processes, choosing the Deputy Lord Mayor and all the positions that we're looking at tonight, was not taken into consideration. It seems to me that there was an agenda to put him in the box as though this will be something that he would prefer. But if we wanted to give him options to be able to participate, we should have delayed them all rather than waiting until the 28th of October. It's disappointing, it's not collaborative, it's not inclusive.
Councillor, the motion is related to the Royal South Australia Regiment Council.
I know what the motion is related to,
could
but
you
I'm
please
talking
speak to
in
that?
relation, well, I don't think, I think Deputy Lord Mayor, I think it's very clear what's happening tonight, and I'm not going to play into the games.
Thank you for your contribution. Does anyone else wish to speak to this matter? I will revert to the mover. Councillor Giles, do you wish to sum up?
Summed up.
I now put the motion on the screen to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We now move to the appointment of the LGFA General Meeting voting delegate. And I would ask members to note that it is recommended that the Lord Mayor is Council's representative at that annual general meeting, as she will be present. Councillor Giles, do you wish to move it as printed?
I'll move that way. It seems, once again, a practical approach, because the Lord Mayor will being on the executive committee, I think that was called, of the LGA, it would make sense. She also would have her head around the...
Councillor Giles, I'm sorry, my fault. I neglected to ask for a seconder.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Snape, please resume.
It also would be a person... the Lord Mayor will also be a person who understands the financial matters of the LGA really closely, considering that's where she is at the moment. So I think it's a really good idea, and it will save another person trying to find a space in their diary, considering she will already be there.
Councillor Snape, do you wish to speak? Councillor Couros, you wish to speak?
Of course, I absolutely support this. As Councillor Giles has pointed out, she will always be there. We know that she will always be there, like she always would be here next week for the meeting.
Thank you for your contribution. Does anybody else wish to speak further? Councillor Giles.
Summed up.
I now put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. We now move to, and that, by the way, is the last of the nominations on the agenda. We now move to Lord Mayor's reports. In the absence of the Lord Mayor, I would say only that I have been acting for just a few days on her behalf and have attended on her behalf just one public meeting convened by APLA to discuss the state government takeover of Park 1 for the new golf course. I was a member of a panel and had the pleasure of introducing a video of the Lord Mayor addressing the meeting. And I remind members also that the Lord Mayor is conducting important business while she's overseas. She is attending this week the Climate Week NYC 2025 in New York, which is a world-leading global climate event and probably the biggest of its kind. Additionally, it's a key global moment. It is essentially for technical business. I believe the quorum has just been taken. No? We still have enough? Okay. It brings together a mix of existing bodies, new leaders from the world as well. It's a key global event. And for the information of members, I'd mention also that the Lord Mayor is accompanied by the Minister for Climate Change, Chris Bowen, and the SA Local Government Minister, Joe Sokash, and they are together waving the flag in support of Adelaide's COP31 bid. Today the Lord Mayor attended the UN, and tomorrow she'll attend important meetings with Minister Bowen, and then on Wednesday, New York time, with Minister Sokash, yet another important meeting. Now I call for councillor reports. Oh, I'm sorry, I need someone to move that. Moved by Councillor Giles, seconded by Councillor Siebentrit. Those in favour? Carried. I now call for councillor reports. Are there any council members who wish to make reports? Councillor Siebentrit, Councillor Marr, Councillor Giles, in that order.
Very briefly, Acting Lord Mayor, had the great pleasure last week to represent the Lord Mayor at the launch of the Feast Festival program. Was also attended by Councillor Snape, Councillor Freeman and also Councillor Mayor. It was a fantastic event and wish Penny, who's the chair, and all involved with the organising committee and everyone involved in the upcoming event all the best for the program.
Thank you, Councillor Siebentrit. Councillor Marr.
Thank you. I haven't given one of these before, so I'd like to thank all of those who voted and, of course, all of those who voted for me to be their representative. I'd also like to thank those who assisted with the campaign, those who donated time, resources, funding. It's a very humbling amount of trust that has been placed in me to represent Central Ward.
Councillor Marr, that's not a representative report.
I have more.
Please move on to it.
As a result of that, I've obviously started work in this in the town hall in the new building. I've participated in several onboarding meetings with Sharon, Charlotte, Beck and Michael, and their support has been extremely valuable. I've also met with every councillor so far, and they've been warm and inviting, and I'm looking forward to working with them ongoing in a positive working relationship. I've attended a couple of events as a councillor since taking the oath a few weeks ago. Feast Festival program launch, East End Coordination Group, and the presentation on the foot traffic was particularly interesting, seeing the spike and the resulting lull as with the crankers last week of trade moving from the East End to the West End. The Grote Business Precinct, a couple of residents' proposals about Grey Street. I've chatted with several residents about the Duke of York and the Freemasons developments, and I've done my own site visits there as well. I've had a look at Hindley Street, O'Connell Street, Hutt Street and Light Square at different times of day and on different days to get a lay of the land so I can be better informed with how people interact with those spaces when they come to council for our consideration later. And of course, I've kept an eye on the development at the Crown and Anchor Hotel and the new operation at the Ed Castle.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. The next hand was Councillor Giles, I believe.
Thank you. I just want to report on three things. Firstly, I was really pleased to be at the event organised by Critical Mass in Light Square, which saw hundreds of children and their families riding their bikes through the city a couple of Sundays ago, through the city on a Sunday morning, and raising the issue about the importance of having safe ways for young people and for children to be able to use their bikes and and travel in an active way. I was particularly impressed that all the speakers at that event were children, and they were incredibly effective at articulating the need for safer streets and for more recognition of their place in our community, and to be safe in our community. It was just beautiful and a joyous event, and it was also attended by the Lord Mayor, by Councillor Freeman, Councillor Snape, and former Councillor Elliott was there as well. And a really big turnout, I'd say hundreds of people were there. The second one was I was also pleased to represent Council at the Guitar Festival. The Guitar Festival is a really important festival in our city and is growing each year, and it's quite significant on the calendar now. And to be able to hear from our own South Australian artist Nancy Bates, and also Troy Casadale, who is really good. And although not a fan of country music, it was so good to see two excellent Aboriginal artists who are well known in this field, and to have Nancy as a South Australian representative there at that concert. And the other thing I went to this last Saturday was the Unmasked African Festival, which was in Victoria Square, organised by the African Community Council. And also in attendance were the Multicultural Commissioners. There were also the Minister for Multiculturalism, the Shadow Minister of Multiculturalism, and also the Independent, the Honourable Jing Lee. And what it was a really great opportunity for all three of those members of Parliament to send the message that a multicultural community, a diverse community, and a community that lives and works together in harmony is what we're after. And it was very reassuring to hear those words from every side of the political debate. Honourable Jing Lee in particular made the point that the sort of marches we've seen lately in the city, which is anti-immigration, are just in total contradiction to what South Australia and what Adelaide's on about. And the African Community Council had organised a brilliant event celebrating the contribution of African people into our community.
Thank you, Councillor Giles. Councillor Noon.
Just quickly, I was honoured to be invited to the 200th year anniversary of Uruguay's independence and to meet the Ambassador of Uruguay to Australia, and it was hosted also by the Honourable Consort of Uruguay, which is our own Steve Maris. It was a very high-profile event, and it attracted many consorts who are based in South Australia, and I learnt a lot about that evening, but I certainly enjoyed the food and the wine, and Uruguay is definitely on my list of travel.
Are there any other councillors who wish to make reports? In that case, I need a mover and a seconder to accept those reports. Councillor Snape moving, Councillor Marr seconding. Those in favour? That is carried. We now move to motions on notice. There are no motions on notice. Motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice from the floor? We move then to questions on notice. The answers have been provided to 19.1, 19.2 and 19.3, and they will be provided in the minutes. Questions without notice, item 20. Do we have any questions without notice? We have no questions without notice, and so we now move to the next item, which is item 21, an exclusion of the public. The following, for which I seek a mover and a seconder, are requested to be in confidence. They are the confidential recommendation of the Infrastructure and Public Works Committee, 16th of September 2025, item 11.1, adaptive rehouse city housing, confidential advice of the Parklands Authority, 18th of September 2025, the appointment of members to the Brownhill and Keswick Creek Stormwater Audit and Risk Committee, and the City Library. We need to do those separately, okay. Let me move each of those separately. Firstly, the recommendation in relation to infrastructure and public works, Councillor Marr, seconded by Councillor Freeman. Those in favour? I declare that carried. The confidential advice of the Parklands Authority, Councillor Marr, seconded by Councillor Freeman. Those in favour? That is carried. The appointment of members to Brownhill Keswick Creek Stormwater Audit and Risk, Councillor Marr, seconded Councillor Noon. And finally, confidentiality order. Oh, we need a vote. It's been a long night. Those in favour of the confidentiality order in the case of Brownhill Keswick Creek, Councillor Noon, Councillor Siebentritt. The City Library, there was a vote on that, wasn't there? Nope. Okay, sorry. Hands again. That's carried. And the last one, City Library, mover and seconder, Councillor Marr, Councillor Noon. Those in favour? Carried. Just please don't collapse the quorum before the... I now declare the meeting closed.